it's only gonna get bigger. They're getting their own league. Turkey is getting their own league. You know, this is just ever expanding universe. But we're in the drafting stage. Error 404 on blue, Goodfellas on red. Glue, first one to get banned out.
Yeah, you know, pretty meta band so far. We don't exactly have a lot of information, but this is gonna be our first time seeing them on screen here on what kind of drafts and hero picks they do like when it comes to this composition. But as of yet, I want to see what. Are we going to see the Ube strategy again here? Because first game just now, we did see it being played out coming in from the Laos team. Goodfellas, you know, from the Philippines, known for it as well. Blacklist International, maybe.
Yeah.
Might be a comfort pick going on there.
Yeah, the 1-1 getting banned is very classic. But I mean, if you have watched, you know, any of the games in the M series, you can kind of see that there is a way to defeat the Ube strategy, right? Echo completely demolished whatever Blacklist made known a year ago. It's just whether is the team confident enough to pull it off. I think, you know, Miracle Gaming show a variation of that. In this case, the fact that if any team wants to go Ube means that they have practiced it for a long time. It's not an easy thing to pull off.
I agree, but as of yet, Grok being banned off coming from Front Arrow 404, a great initiation hero here, which is kind of surprising considering that it was ignored as well. I think that Grok does bring so much versatility in terms of roaming, in terms to draft as well, when it comes to whether or not playing roam, playing XP, playing even to a certain degree gold laner Grok, which is kind of feasible as well in terms of chunking down damage, because in this current patch, there hasn't been a lot of emphasis on the strong marksman compared to previous seasons where you see, hey, Beatrix, super broken. Brody, a little bit skeptical, but it's more onto his Beatrix side. Melissa hasn't had a lot of love, but so far in this current patch, we have fallen back in towards a marksman where carry is pretty decent compared to the rest. And all in all, even I think oftentimes teams, especially pro teams, just completely ignore and play, you know what, we just need assassin jungle as our main carry. We don't need a strong marksman to actually win
kind of a callback to I think season 5 and 6 where assassin junglers were kind of a big thing, and it was just Ling and Ling and Ling and Ling and Ling, basically so. I think it's good to see a bit of the evolution, maybe a bit of a throwback to old metas, but having kind of a very distributed, a very good distribution of the weight. You need a marksman, you need a potentially an assassin jungler with or without. It does make the meta a bit more healthy for a lot of these players.
True and true. But as of yet, now, seeing how the Joy has been banned off, Fanny completely being ignored, Mortis as well in the pool, Ferjin also being ignored here. Are we going to see a potential Fanny pick up here? Because considering that now, here's a little bit of rumor, right? Fanny has been broken for 2 seasons, blah, blah, blah. He's been nerfed down the ground. And we have started to see a lot of weaknesses onto his Fanny itself. Yes, you can win the early aggression, etc. But when it comes to the later stage again, it starts to fall off a little bit more. But here's a little bit fun fact for you guys here. If you guys are really, really hardcore Mobile Legends Bang Bang players, the upcoming patch, they are buffing Fanny. That's crazy.
It's good and bad.
Even though it's been nerfed, people are like, people still play it.
It's still
so
quite
hard.
strong, right? It's still pretty strong. There are ways to shut down the Fanny, right? Either you hard lock down or the game skill late enough and you have something like Fredrin, and that's probably one of the best examples to lock down a Fanny. But Fanny fans rejoice in a week or two. But we get the Kadita ban. It's something that I honestly don't expect in first phase, but that means a lot of these heroes are left open. Fredrin, again, it feels like a priority.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the case as well.
There it is.
Valentina also being completely... Valentina's banned. I think Eve is something that they can actually bring into the table. Lilia is pretty decent as well, especially where we talk about heroes that benefit from Purify. Lilia is one of those very few that actually excels when using Purify. And even if the Fredrin comes in your face and taunts you, the Purify just gets you out of the taunt, pops a black shoe, you get out of safety, and this is where you start to harass the Fredrin to a degree. So I feel like picking the carry isn't not bad. Lilia isn't too shabby as well if Goodfellas decide to go for it. But when it comes to meta picks, I think double downing on the Mortis and carry, it's definitely the better choice coming from Goodfellas.
So we're going back to kind of the basics, right? You want the Mortis first pick, there you go, the carry and the Yi.
I can respect this.
It's fine. I think, you know, it's just the classic move of we are gonna take the 2 strongest picks that's available in the meta right now. It is a blind pick, but it's also those kind of blind pick that doesn't really get bothered too much by whatever the enemy has. Now you get to draft around both your cores.
I think the blind pick that doesn't give you too much, I would say, weaknesses to
it's hard to get a core pick that the core blind pick that doesn't threaten your own draft.
Exactly. So in this case, I think you know, they've got a pretty decent run on here. But Arrow 4-4, they are in a situation where how do they deal with this Eve, right? Do they mirror this up by picking off Forza, which I think is kind of in a very awkward situation in the current meta, when it's strong, but it's not exactly strong. But Arrow 4-4, they go for the Gusion. Jungle Gusion and XP Fredrin in their vicinity. Not a big fan of this playstyle, but it's okay considering that you can actually one-shot the Eve. And so I think for Arrow 4-4, they're not going for the mirror matchup. They're just going to make sure that this Eve doesn't have a good time. Whereas Goodfellas, they need to play something to actually shut him down. In this case, I feel like Kufra is too bad. If you think about it, Gusion just can't play around the Kufra. We've got heroes such as the Ruby as well, is pretty decent as well as the frontliner to actually interrupt and kind of mirror Fredrin's playstyle as well.
Here's a thought. I'm not sure if they would do it, but is there a chance that we still see this Gusion get flexed down to that mid lane?
Possible.
There's this possibility, right? You see this Fredrin in the jungle, because I think that, let's say if I want to dive at Eve and Gusion doesn't cut it, the Yuzhong does feel like a pick that you can throw into the XP lane for Arrow 404. Goodfellas, nonetheless, finished that first wave with the Barats. Very, very standard jungler.
I love the Barats in this situation, considering that there's just not a lot of heroes that can actually chunk through the HP of Barats. Carry being in their favor, picking this now isn't too bad. All they gotta do is just ban off maybe Kaja, maybe Dirov, maybe heroes with a lot of HP, I would say damage actually punk through HP in terms of true damage or percentage ratios is going to be in their favor. So I think banning of the Ling, just doubling down that they do not go for split push potential because of the fact that Barats can't exactly play map pressure well compared to the traditional XPs. I like the drops coming from Goodfellas, but I'm worried for Arrow 4-4. Where do they get damage to kill this Barats? Brody doesn't have that kind of damage potential. Gusion definitely doesn't have this kind of damage to actually chunk him down, especially once the Daytona's Welcome being procced from Goodfellas.
Wonder if 4-4 would consider a Kaja, right? And in Kaja, you don't they're still on the table. I think the Ling ban is just in case Gusion is not in the jungle, Fredrin goes XP. But I also do like the Estes ban from Arrow 404. You kind of shut down whatever potential Ube strategy that Goodfellas might be setting up, right? You see this first 3 picks, that Estes would be a perfect way to round it up. It's more like the last week. There we go, Kaja ban out by Goodfellas. They are definitely reading this right.
I like how Arrow 4-4 is taking basics as well, which I kind of agree as well. Taking away the Estes, taking away... No, I don't think Digi is good. Either Rafaela or Matilda ban here coming from Arrow 4-4 isn't too bad. Making sure that Goodfellas can't take advantage of this mobility for Barats, right? If you give the Matilda onto his Goodfellas, this Barats is just gonna left completely unchecked most of the time, and there's no way they can actually catch him down, considering that if you compare this draft coming from Arrow 4-4 with the previous series we watched, where there's just so much chain CCs coming from Miracle Gaming with the Savior, with the... what's it called again?
It's the Edith
and Fredrin. There's so much chain CC all the way through. I don't think this is an ideal situation for them if they let it go. But no, they go for the Digi instead.
I think it's okay, right? Because I mean, just to echo the whole crowd control, now you get rid of a hero that Goodfellas could potentially pick and just bail out their cores, which can be a bit annoying if you're looking at something like a Gusion who wants to be in your face. And I think the Atlas does solve a bit at that problem, right? No glue, no Kaja, no worries. The Atlas, now it makes the life of this Gusion so much harder. And this is a Fanny direction. I feel like Arrow 4-4 have been forced in a situation where they are just tripling down on trying to run Goodfellas over. But they gotta get through this front line first. Is this a Faramis pick angle? I don't. Wow.
I have no idea what Arrow 4-4 is thinking, but jungle Fanny.
Yeah.
And Gusion.
Is this a
Johnson Express?
Yeah. Why? Yes.
Okay.
What is Goodfellas gonna go for though? So they're probably looking for an XP lane. The Yudong, I kind of dig it right now.
I think Martis is perfect. Martis completely shuts down whatever they try to do. But at the same time, they need and it's tough. Like Martis isn't too bad. Jungle Martis is good. XP Martis is good as well. It's annoying. Ruby isn't too bad as well. But no, they go for the Edith instead.
I mean, how are you gonna reach the backline? Question number 1 for Arrow 404. there are 3 meat shields that can just
Soak up your rapid touchdown.
yeah, just catch the Johnson. You just face tank it.
But the problem here is that Goodfellas doesn't have damage to do with Fanny, except for the carry. Not even the Eve. So it's tough. I think Arrow 404, they've got a pretty clear objective as well. They're banging on Johnson making space and Fanny winning the game, buying time for Brody to come make a comeback. Whereas Goodfellas, they just need to survive the onslaught and just tank their way through and just pick them up one by one by the carry. So in this case, both very, very different win approaches.
Yeah.
Very, very winnable games. It's tough.
I say that we've seen, you know, very unique play styles. I didn't expect to see
this
it
to be this
Johnson.
unique.
Yeah, that well,
Yeah.
look, that's a great way to start it off. But I also think that when you look at the draft of Arrow 404, it is a sign where you want to be in and out the shadows, right? Fanny, cushion, is in, get a kill, get out. And as long as you don't get crowd control, everything's going to go well. But, you know, I'm gonna cut them some slacks. I think Goodfellas can also kind of stop them in their tracks. It really comes down to whether that snowball can get going on the side of 404.
Yep, and as of yet, this is going to be the game coming in as well. We do see, I'm surprised they're putting 3 men down on purple buff just to make sure that this Fanny outfarms the opponents and possibly going to try and steal the red buffs here, considering that that's how it's going to be the game plan. Seems like they are going to be trying to rotate in as well. Meanwhile, it seems like we do see a contest down with the purple buff as well. This is going to be Aizu taking the red buff first, and this time they are going to try and force a retro battle, and it is going to be the Fanny that comes up on top with it. So unlucky for Aizu, considering that he did switch up his starting jungle as well.
Yeah, and I think it's just a good read from Arrow 404, and at the same time, they are just abusing the fact that Barras is so slow. Making an attempt down mid, though, Cloven's in danger, lockdown in place. Starboy looking for a bit more damage, can't find the finishing touches. Cloven walks away in time.
Yeah, this is Goodfellas having a pretty rough time for the jungle lane, but I feel like Arrow 404, they made a very risky play because things would not have went their way in if they lost the retro battle as well. But I like that he took the initiative to take the gamble, and now Arrow 404, they just need to rely on this Fanny getting kills, and it seems like he's gonna go for the damage as well. Starboy somehow survives it all, and now without any energy, they can actually return the favor. Gushin comes in as well with the flicker, and Goodfellas, they somehow survive it despite the damage burst coming from the Fanny.
That's the best case scenario, honestly. The fact that no one went down, you only at a price of flicker. I mean, Goodfellas, you gotta really say a prayer in that scenario. And at the same time, it's because of that retro battle that Arrow 404 won. It was just a Fanny level 4 flying in at under 2 minutes and almost assassinating your mid laner.
Yeah, this is a little bit tough as well. I like how top lane, gold lane does this playing in stalemate. They know for a fact that whoever shows face, someone's gonna die, especially when the Fanny is just off the radar. But now, Lord Ricky gonna be a downside without purple buffs. Goodfellas in the prime time to start this off. They're risking this without the Fanny purple buff. But despite that, Goodfellas, they will concede the turtle in the favor of Arrow 404. So it's Cambodia versus Philippines.
There's nothing that Goodfellas could do, honestly. I don't think there's a chance of contest. There's a 1 versus 1 top. Both the cores are low. Oh, Yamikaze looking for something. At least goes on the drive with the Gushon. First blood is dead. They get the trade nonetheless. It's not the worst exchange. Of course, they can't finish off the Atlas, but I mean, you get a trade.
Okay, they get a 1-for-1 trade-off on the sides. Both gold lanes kind of died here, but Lord Ricky is going to try and apply a little bit more pressure with the Fanny. But Goodfellas, they're just barely tickling him down and having the triple tank composition. Fanny's just struggling to find some sort of a lead to actually snowball this game, and this is actually helping Goodfellas a little bit more.
Another thing is, I mean, Arrow 404 to clear the wave so fast. Goodfellas can't rotate in time. Something, at least Yamikaze taking a Gushin for a ride. We've seen this a lot of times. One of those standards, right? Back then it's Johnson or dead. Now it's just Johnson, Gushin. Oh, Starboy almost catch something in the face. Teddy QT also dashed away in time. This is going to be the story for the entire game, honestly.
Dude, I don't know how Yamikaze is just able to drive so confident in all these tight corners, because I wouldn't be able to do that, but it seems like he's going to try and make a 10 as well. They will get the kill onto his Atlas, and they're going to be looking for more now. Teddy QT is going to be the next to fall. Great collabs coming in from Arrow 404, and this is the region that has been known for their Johnsons. Impunity KH from Cambodia, and it seems like based on the MPL, they have been learning so much. I did not expect that. I've not seen anybody play Johnson in this level, not even in MPL MY.
It is a region that...
I think the closest I've seen to maneuver like that is pretty much Adam's Spartan.
Oh yeah, I was about to bring out our friend as well. But honestly, you know, Cambodia is also one of those regions where just like Myanmar, right? They are innovative. Remember back in the days, the first M series, Myanmar, the only region, Burmese Ghouls at the time, that runs a jaw hate constantly, and they are winning fights as well. So definitely loving this approach. And it's just simple to execute. The way you, like, if you think about it, it is so easy to pull off. You bump into someone and it's an easy kill. Oh my, here he comes again.
Oh my
There's
goodness.
no bodies that can block it.
Oh my goodness, it's so very difficult. But at the same time, the turtle will be secured from the side of good from Arrow 404. This Brody is just completely popping off. The Revolution comes in, but it doesn't really matter. The rest of Arrow 404 will just completely collapse on those with those fannies. 4 man down. They just have no way to set up for the real Revolution. And now, Goodfellas, BRCD, last man standing. He's gonna get completely chuckled down as well with this heat of play.
He's dead.
And he's dead as well with Arrow 404 just picking them up one by one by one, and everyone just completely flops to the floor.
Yes, the full stack of Brody's passive on him. I mean, I was no way he's getting out of that. You know, these kind of games are the games that you just feel incredibly bad, not because you lost, but because you're losing to a composition like what Arrow 404 is running.
Yeah, it's tough to execute, right?
It's like those classic comps where it looks stupid, but it works.
Well, it's not necessarily stupid, but at the same time, topside, they are going to be trying to force a fight here, but from behind, here comes Yamikaze. He's trying to look for Teddy Cutie, but he misses the angle, but they still get the finish on towards Fatal Links as well. But you can see the Goshen on the backline, Slovens trying his best to actually finish off Starboy, but he just don't have the damage. Trade 1 for 2, and all in all, it's still in favor of Error 404. Lord Ricky is still in there, the Barats is there, but once they take down this tier 1, this Barats is going to lose his life. But fortunately for Anzu, he will be able to clear the minutes and actually force Error 404 to back out.
Yeah, definitely starting to snowball out of control. And Teddy QT, he even flickered into a wall of all things. That is the last tier 1 turret. It's gonna go down just 6 minutes in. Yeah, go in. Yep, we're gonna get it.
Yup, now seems like Goodfellas, they are gonna try and set up with the Fatal Links once again. Unfortunately, sorry, I'm Din. Not going to be able to do any of that here just because of how Air 404 is just playing around the Johnson composition. You can see all the players here, they don't exactly stick together, right? But at the same time, Goodfellas, they're not, they're so afraid to actually force out a fight just because of the fact that how Yamikaze is able to find all these weird angles. But as of yet, you can see BRCD, they want to try and bait out a Fatal Links with those fronty tankies. But with the turtle down on bottom lane here, Goodfellas, they may be looking for a fight, but guess what? Look who they found. They found Starboy, and he's going to be sent to the moon just like that with Arrow 404. Just completely snowballing his way through. They lost the turtle from Arrow 404, but here comes the Fatal Link setup as well. They're going for the Azu, but this Fanny is going to be able to get out of safety while the rest of Arrow 404 is going to try and collapse on Goodfellas. The Gushen Clover is going to be able to cut the backlines, take out Teddy, but at what expense? Diving so deep as Goodfellas was able to counter-engage in this fight.
Yeah, they lost 2, they only got Teddy, but I mean, they are dumpstering this carry 1 and 5. Almost an average of 1 death per minute. And you know, I mean, Arrow 404, they can't protect the backline because you have 2 assassins to deal with. Real world manipulation coming out. Cloven, the flash knockup, and a throwback from BRCD. They need a bit of damage. It's a good trade. If you are good fellas, they needed that one.
Yeah, they need to slow down the marksman's progression here, considering that Sport's secret is level 9 as compared to Teddy's only level 8. But here he comes again. They force the flicker out with Starboy just because of how annoying Yamikaze is. He does not miss. He's the true Tokyo Drifter, the Drift King in this game in itself here. He's not made a crash and he's hit on point for every single crashes here. But as soon as I say it here, as it drifts by, will Goodfellas be able to bounce back into this next upcoming fight? Because as of yet, they're just so afraid to push out the map. And this feels like Impunity KH all over again from Cambodia.
Thanks to, you know, Yamikaze playing that Johnson, our mini cam is always occupied by just him driving around. Props to our observer for doing so though. Uh-oh, they're gonna try and intercept this one. Yamikaze not hitting the mark, now gets knocked out. This is the ambush that Goodfellas has set up for quite a while, and they finally get a kill in return. Now they try to move forward to get more. Nasu will put his body in front to buy time and save for Secret. Cloven looking for a way in, but they need to do something fast, and they just could not do much. 2 kills for Goodfellas, but Loriki, oh, he has something else to say, just dives in and decimates the cores, but no kills.
Yeah, and you know, Caster's curse is just a little bit too powerful. You know, we talk about the Drift King. He tried to go for a little bit of greedy play. He needed to take out Teddy QT, but you know, Teddy Kitty was so aware. He knows that he will be the point of interest coming from Arrow 404. They managed to back out, but as of yet, now it's going to be up to Goodfellas to actually secure the lot. They've got a lot of time, but as of yet, Yamikaze doesn't have his rapid touchdown yet, so it's going to be okay. Wait, actually he does. He is still driving around. But they're looking to go for a couple of pickoffs in here. But nope, they crash onto the Barats, and that's going to be a big stop for Knock to actually finish off the combo, allowing them for the reset. The Lord save Goodfellas, and they will turn the tides with the Fatal Links. And just like that, Arrow 404, they're trying their best to fight back, but they lose a little bit too much. Force Secret will be picked off from BRCD, and the rest of members from Arrow 404 completely whittled down. Feels bad for Arrow 404, but the Goodfellas win this fight, courtesy of the Lord.
Honestly, that was the most unlucky event of that entire sequence. I mean, the Lord, that knockout completely screwed over Arrow 404. Lord Ricky trying to keep this turret alive. Even use that ultimate BRCD, just eats all of it. Goodfellas able to at least run down that mid lane for a while. Fortunately, not risking that tier 2, not with Yamikaze out. Best case scenario, they are in the lead just by a bit. But it was one of the recoveries that they desperately were looking for in Yamikaze. Oh, they try to intercept that ultimate again.
Yeah, this time they have the levels, they have the items to actually tank the initial burst now. They know for a fact that Gushan has been under level and under farmed because of the fact he's been driving around, not getting important XP and go for the fights. But for Secret, he's going to be stranded as well. He's calling the Fanny. They want to go for the Starboy, but do they get the kill? Yes, they will eventually take him down, but the Real Evolution buys him more time, and they will lose the Brody. But the rest of the team from Arrow 404 is not in position here as they all get picked bit by bit, knowing that for a fact that Goodfellas is in no position to fight this here. And Arrow 404, they just overcommitted here. It's pretty much go time for Goodfellas now.
Yeah, Goodfellas committed for a kill. Actually just left their backlines vulnerable to the Fanny. I mean, Teddy QT going down, that is the silver lining for Arrow 404. He almost survived that burst. I think Cloven at the very end was able to get that last burst in. Nonetheless though, Arrow 404, you gotta start being careful. You can't do the same trick over and over again.
My goodness, I like how Goodfellas is itemization double dominance eyes as well as anti-Kira to make sure that this Fanny doesn't get the most amount of damage, right? Without any of these items, multiple times 10 QT, instead of dying 6 times, he would have died way much more because of this fact. And Lord Ricky right now is in a situation where he's going full armor shreds, and even then, he possibly needs to play a little bit more defensive here, because once we reach a later stage of the game, Fanny is very easily middled down very quickly here. So we are going to be seeing a little bit more of a split map pressure coming from Arrow 404 to try and rat their way into this game, knowing that how strong Goodfellas is in a 5-man fight. Look at how big this Barat is going to be looking at as well. They've got the Fatal Links trying to go for setup, but the car is still looking for its prey. In this case, who is going to be the ones that get the roll kill, and that's going to be BRCD. That's not the most ideal target. Look at the damage coming in, the counter engagement with the Fatal Links completely collapsed. Goodfellas turn the tide, but Fanny kills off Starboy in the back lines, but it's going to be a victory for Goodfellas in this engagement.
Yeah, absolutely big victory right now. Lord is coming up as well. Goodfellas have more than enough damage. You have the Barats, you have the carry. This Lord is going to completely disintegrate. Unless Lord Ricky can get a God Steal. They're not fully committing into it just yet. They're looking for the Fanny. They found him. 8 more seconds until Yamikaze gets back out. Teddy QT just face changes. Lord Ricky does have the wisdom of nature to stay alive for a bit longer, but now he needs a bit of time to lifesteal back up. And Lord Ricky, he is also pretty healthy. Lord is down low, 6,000 health. Lord Ricky coming through! Red Treat steals it! Oh my goodness, Arrow 404 stays alive!
Oh, that's huge for Arrow 404. They needed that to actually get a little bit more map pressure. But as of yet, Goodfellas, nice attempt, but it all, well, unfortunately, it came down to a 50-50 conflict, right? So, yeah, you know, the ones with the cool, calm composure is going to be the one that comes up on top. And that's going to be Lord Ricky in that regards. But now, once again, with the Lord pushing down the bottom side, Arrow 404, they need to get a little bit more map pressure by taking on all these inhibitors. Meanwhile, Goodfellas, they just need to hold on, you know? They just need to hope that Yamikaze makes the mistake and try and crash into one of these 3 tanky heroes in front of them to make sure that Starboy or Teddy QT survives it. But as of yet, Starboy is struggling to survive the onslaught being brought out by Lord Ricky.
Yeah, we're going to be here for a bit longer. Arrow 404 has found a lifeline. Lord has gone down, so Goodfellas, all they need to do is to clear out the lane, stabilize it a little bit, go for that, you know, run it back. 2 more minutes until the next Lord spawns.
Ooh, very difficult situation to be at as of yet, especially for Goodfellas. But fortunately for them, they played safe. But Arrow 404, they still need to find the double combo here. Double Petrify is coming from Cloven as well as Yamikaze is completely threatening the backlines. But like I said as well, the moment Teddy dies, all damage coming from Goodfellas completely gets mitigated unless BRCD is going to be the true second core, which in this case, he does do a decent amount of damage, but not necessarily enough to a certain degree, because as of yet, he's pretty tanky. But with the plate armor purchase coming from Ricky, not exactly sure if it's the right choice, but I guess it's okay. Starboy, he's got the breastplate, so this is where Yves is going to be a little bit harder to deal with, especially when all the stacks of Brute Force breastplate is going to keep him alive.
All things considered, this is still a good scenario for Arrow 404. Not only them stealing the Lord, but also finding the RCD in the jungle. Backup is dead of a Goodfellas. Oh, you gotta get out right now. Not a fight you want to take. Fatal Links in the face. Nasu gets gobbled up, just spat into a wall. They don't have the damage to finish off just yet. Nasu tried to survive that one. They bring it back. Oh, sorry, I'm thin. Big fat. Oh, triple kill for Teddy QT. And it is almost a complete wipeout. Yes, it is. Teddy QT with a Maniac streak. Goodfellas in one fell swoop have just gotten game one. I see, baby.
Oh my goodness. I thought the Fatal Links was used, but they preactively baited this out. The moment Arrow 404 took the bait, immediately gets pulled back by Sorry on Dim. Gets the biggest, fattest catch, and at the edge of the railroad manipulation to allow Starboy to do a little bit more damage. That's insane precision coming from Sorry, I'm Thin. But what a game coming from Goodfellas, because that was a very, very convincing game one in this fight.